Dear Mr. President, I have a dream that someday we will all be treated equally and that no one will have to worry about their rights.
It's been normal, everyday people saying, no, this is wrong. And it goes to the heart of what it means to be an American.
I believe that a church or a family or an individual who's paying taxes should not have to support what he does not believe in, a religious belief.
The fact is, the base of this country, the key to American exceptionalism, is the Declaration of Independence, which says we hold these truths to be self-evident, that we're all created equal.
And I think that, when a woman confronts a difficult issue like that, they can rely upon their own spiritual leaders, friends and family, loved ones to help them decide what's the best decision on that.
I know there are some who disagree, and I respect their point of view, but I believe that life begins at conception. The only exception I have to have an abortion is in that case of the life of the mother. I struggled with it myself for a long time, but I came to realize life is that gift from God, and I think even when life begins in that horrible situation of rape, that it is something that God intended to happen.
At the moment of conception, you have an individual. You may not be able to see it, but with even today's technology, you can see it. A drunk driver is out one night, 1 o'clock in the morning. He hits a family. The mother's pregnant. She may be only a month pregnant, but she's pregnant. She has to have an abortion because the damage that night, or C-section, or cesarean, whatever you want to call it. The prosecutor forms up charges that the drunk driver just murdered somebody with a DWI. He gets sent to prison, gets found guilty and gets sent to prison for killing a baby.
I think that public's opinion about it has really changed a lot in the last couple years, and I don't think that we need to put a ban on gay marriage in our state constitution or to limit it. I mean, a number of states have gone in the other direction now, and they've given full rights to gay couples to get married. And I think that what we'll see is it's just not that big of a deal. I've always been fascinated by opponents of gay marriage who say that somehow it will diminish traditional marriage or somehow undermine family values, and I just think that's not correct. So I think that it's really much ado about nothing.
What I'm concerned about is the eroding of our basic family unit. This nation was built upon, believe it or not, is built upon Christian beliefs. It's built upon religious beliefs. All the laws that we have on our books are based upon, thou shalt not kill, and all the 10 commandments from that building block up. And a lot of our laws in the court systems are made surrounding the family, whether it's the benefits of a health care plan or whether it's the benefits of an insurance policy or whether it's the benefits of a pension when the husband or wife dies. It's the division of property in an estate, what the wife gets, what the kid gets. There's a lot of laws built upon basic building blocks which surround the protection of individuals that have rights when someone passes away.
Well, I believe that marriage is actually an economic advantage. And I'm not the only one who believes it. If you look at who's been supportive of same-sex marriage around this country, one of the interesting patterns is there's a large number of huge corporations that are very much in favor of this. Lilly is in favor of it. AT&T is in favor of it. Starbucks is in favor of it. Disney is in favor of it. In other words, major corporations want to see same-sex marriage. Now, why would they want to do it? Well, one reason is we know that marriage is in effect provides economic advantages, is an economic boon, not only for people who are married, but also for the corporations or organizations that people work in. People who are married tend to be more embedded in the community, more invested in their jobs. And on average, then, marriage would in effect provide a real benefit. Now, for the state of Indiana, one thing that's really interesting is one thing we're really concerned about in Indiana is that a lot of people who are college-age students who get their college degrees, once they graduate, they leave. We talk about this as a brain drain in Indiana. One thing I've noticed from my discussions with a lot of students at Indiana University is a lot of students say they just have to leave Indiana because they view it as a really, really socially conservative state. And they often give the prohibition against same-sex marriage as a signal or an illustration of how far behind the time Indiana is. If Indiana is concerned about economic growth, this may be one area that surprisingly same-sex marriage could actually help at least reduce the brain drain.
Well, I think the whole point of human rights in general is that you want to live in a society where the individual is free of government oppression. And you want individuals to be able to make their own decisions and to be able to basically reach their full potentials, make their own decisions about where they want to go with their lives. And so that, to me, is kind of the fundamental aspect of human rights. So the difficulty for the government is we have to have some regulation, right? Because if everybody can just do whatever they want, you can have a certain amount of chaos in society or anarchy. And you have to have some organization and structure to society, and you have to have some protections in general. And so the government has to balance how to regulate the economy and society to make sure that individuals are protected, that you have fairness in the system. But if you go too far, then you can begin to limit the individual rights of people. And so the government has to be constantly balancing that. And the important thing is to not cross over the lines. So when you have important, very personal issues about who someone might marry or what decisions they might make about their own reproductive rights, those kinds of issues, the government can kind of go over the line and then end up in that kind of area of oppression or where they're robbing the individual of kind of the control over themselves. And so that's why I think it's important for any elected official to think very carefully and keep in mind, what are the basic fundamental rights of the individual do we want to respect as compared to the power of the state?
In conclusion, Mr. President, as you can see, not everyone is going to agree, but you have to decide whether or not all people should have the freedom to choose how they live their life.